Hello.
Hi, Carly.
Maximilian.
Barnaby.
Patricia.
And Nebby. All right. What comes to mind when you hear jiu-jitsu? Something Chinese? Something Japanese? Is it the same as karate? What about Bruce Lee? Did he do it? Whether it's from a kung fu movie or the summer camp that our parents signed us up for, all of us at some point in our lives have come across some form of martial arts. I personally chose wrestling as my high school sport, practicing and competing for about 3 years total. After graduating and becoming an adult, wrestling opportunities became scarce in the metropolis of Plant City. And I did not like the idea of running like a hamster on the wheel at the local gym to stay fit. So eventually, I joined an activity, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, at a nearby gym. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, also known as BJJ, or even sometimes it's just Jiu-Jitsu, is natural and science-like with many physiological and psychological benefits. Now you might be thinking, isn't Jiu-Jitsu just a bunch of adults with an interest in Eastern philosophy jumping and rolling around in kimono-like pajamas? Or isn't that for people that want to participate in human cage fighting? Or MMA, like on UFC? Spoiler alert. No. BJJ is for everybody. It lends itself to moms, dads, kids, grads, cops, doctors, teachers, people, fat, small, tall, short, and upcoming UFC fighters alike. Some of what BJJ practitioners do and wear are simply just the marks of its rich and natural history. To begin with, BJJ is a samurai fighting system that broke away from judo in Brazil. It became popular in the USA when it showcased on television beating in competition a number of other martial arts in UFC. The kimono-like pajamas are actually a training uniform for most Japanese martial arts training. Whether you call it kaikogi, like the Japanese, or simply gi, like many English-speaking practitioners, there is no doubt the uniform has Japanese roots. When judo, the mother of BJJ, was being established, its founding father probably saw the gi to be more practical than samurai armor. Judo's main goal was to create a school where people could regularly exercise and practice the samurai ways without the heavy-duty armor and deadly kill moves. By the time judo reached South America, specifically Brazil, it began to focus more on the ground grappling aspects, than the standing throwing aspects. It was technically Brazilian judo, but the television audiences of the early 90s of the Ultimate Fighting Championship billed it as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Royce Gracie stunned the audiences of the blood sport when he showed how the combat system was able to defeat any opponent, any size, from any discipline, without question. The key to BJJ's effectiveness, though, lies in its methodology, which is as rich as its history. BJJ practitioners learn combination of moves through demonstration, slow practice, and most importantly, live sparring. These moves begin as takedowns, progress into controlled joint locks, and finish as submissions, which can be from the joint locks themselves or a choice from a variety of chokes. Learning the different moves is much like how anyone would learn any martial art or any dance. Choreography. BJJ requires its students to watch his or her teacher demonstrate the moves, then attempt to replicate the movements. The efforts can be challenging depending on the complexity of the move being taught. BJJ organizes the level of difficulty by awarding colored belts to its students as they become more tenured and able to master the moves. You might be familiar with being a white belt and working towards becoming a master or black belt. According to Saulo Hibiero, a 5th degree black belt and author of Jiu-Jitsu University, the secret to Jiu-Jitsu is the live sparring. He explains that you don't stop at watching a move, the choreography. You gain the ability to build up a real reaction time through live sparring, which is called rolling in BJJ. Intricate and purposeful as its methodology is, it's hardly surprising that BJJ comes naturally with a variety of benefits. BJJ has the potential to enhance both the physiological and the psychological. This means burning fat, generating abs, building confidence, and reducing anxiety are all equal consequences of BJJ practice. In 2011, issue 6 of Science and Sports, they reported that their case study found increased abdominal strength and unusual flexibility of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athletes. The benefits here are straightforward, and a number of other journals make the case for impacted physiologies like oxygen intake and hand grip strength. However, I want to highlight the not so obvious mental benefits of practicing BJJ. It's not a stretch to see how understanding the long lost samurai insights might make someone feel more confident. For me, the most notable benefits is the way BJJ confidence mitigates everyday anxieties. Andreas Stillhall in the Journal of Neural Transmission tells us that, without a doubt, exercise training is clinically effective, at least in major depression and panic disorder. When Leonardo Andreado and his martial arts and combative groups investigated the psychological and perceptive responses of competitors in a regional jiu-jitsu competition, they found that the main beta acid associated with the treatment of depression, anxiety, and cognitive impairment remained stable despite being at a heightened combative state. Understanding the payoffs to BJJ practice is only a part of understanding BJJ as a whole code. I went over the history, methodology, and benefits of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Once a code of combat for samurai, BJJ is now an exercise developed and advanced over time and capable of providing a number of physical and mental paybacks to any practitioner. What comes to mind when you hear Jiu-Jitsu?